Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs in New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm me. I'm Rob. Let's get this show on the road.
I told you, it's not a mobile show. I keep telling you that. It's not a mobile show. We do not have a van and our RV that we can go mobile with. That'd be awesome if we did. If anybody wants to contribute to that, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. You can buy us a whole bunch of beers there. That'd be a lot of beers.
So many beers.
So many beers. But yeah, guys, so sorry about the late start there. It's on me. It's on me, guys. I was guesting on a show, got a little bit past my time there. Was on a show with Paul Dottino, talking about the Giants. He was talking the ways I didn't like about Malik Neighbors. So respectfully, I had to go on there and say my different opinion there. So
that is been our new RB1.
I'm not anti-Paul Dottino. Like, I know some people are anti-Paul Dottino. I'm not anti him. I think he just works for the Giants. Therefore, he has to be a little careful what he says sometimes, as many of them do. I mean, Carl Banks, same thing. You know, they can't bash anybody they want because then they get brought up to the boss's office. Why would you do that?
Yeah. Why would you say about that?
Exactly. But on our show here, guys, we got a lot of news here coming for you. We got all kinds of people that'll be starting. We have people that might not be starting. We have people that, have to talk about things that are coming up with this game. I mean, we got two new Giants here, guys. We got, a guy that we want really badly to play, but probably won't play. We got all kinds of news to give you guys. And then we got, of course, to give you the preview for the Giants and Commanders Part 2. That I promise you a better sequel than the Joker Part 2.
Well, that's pretty easy.
With less singing as well. Less singing.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Have you seen the new the musical, if you will?
That's what I'm saying. Part 2. Yeah, no, I have not seen that. Everybody says it's horrible, and
critics are killing it.
You know what? I will wait until it comes out on HBO because I assume it's where it'll come out because it's Warner Brothers and Warner Brothers owns HBO. I'll wait till that and I'll see it then because there's plenty of movies that people didn't like that I love. I'm going to give you a crazy one. John Carter.
I've never seen it.
One of the biggest bombs of all time. But if you watch it, it was actually a good movie.
Was that Jason Momoa's like one of his first movies?
No, it was not. No.
Way off.
There were some bigger names in there. The kid who's in every movie that bombs was in it. I'm trying to remember his name off the top of my head, but he's not a bad actor. He just picks bad scripts. But Mark Strong, the British bald guy who always plays a villain, he was in it. You'll know him if you see him, like the guy from the Kingsman.
I was about to say, is he the
only time he played a hero?
To say, isn't he the English bad guy?
Yes, like he plays the villain in Shazam, for example. Like
yes,
he was in it.
He's straight up the English bad guy.
There's a lot of actors that you go, I know this guy from this, that kind of thing, and there's no like top villain guy, but there's a whole bunch of I know this person from this, I know this person from that kind of scenario.
Yeah, because that movie came up 10 years ago. Like I remember it being such a big movie.
Yes,
like talks.
Oh, it bombed horrendously.
Yeah,
biggest bomb of all time. Anyway, guys.
Yeah, anyway, sidetracked.
No more movies in John Carter talk, but it was a good movie. Give it a chance if you haven't watched it. Would have been cool to see where it went there. I might read the books one day, but I hate reading. I admit it freely.
I don't know how to read.
I need the school for kids who don't know how to read.
It needs to be at least 3 times the size.
Anyway, on to the game, guys. On to the game. Whew. See, look, by the way, Nick Stream says John Carter is a fire movie. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it. See,
he's got Spider-Man.
Someone else knows. Let's get into the Giants, though, guys. So first off, we got to talk about Daniel Jones starting again. So here we are in a lost season with a quarterback we don't plan on keeping next year that has an injury clause that gets injured most years. And you would think easy solution. We should go ahead and sit this guy, right? Apparently not. No, we're going to play him again. Dable's already said so. Now, I will say this.
Probably came down from there.
Just now, and not to name drop him again, but when I was just on with Paul Dottino, and I mentioned the fact that he shouldn't be starting anymore, Paul had suggested that maybe after the bye week. Now, I will say that makes some potential sense here. You got the Commanders, you got the Panthers in Germany, and then you got the bye week.
It does make sense. Actually, that does actually make a lot of sense.
So now he didn't say he heard from anybody. He was just throwing it out there that'd be a sensible time to do it. So I mean, at that point we'll be 2-8 if we lose both games, or at that point we'll be 4-6 best case scenario. Chances are we'll be probably 3-7.
Yeah, I was about to say probably 3-7.
Yeah, spoiler alert for this episode. But guys, it's I don't get it. I just don't get it. There's no reason to keep playing this guy. And I still think DeVito will play better.
It's not so much DeVito will play better.
Energize the team.
It will energize the team. You're not wrong.
It's time to energize the team.
Yeah. But, I mean, John Mara, who he has taken a step back of how much he has to say about, who plays, does what, this and that. But he's publicly said that he likes DJ. He wants DJ to play. So I'm sure he's given a little pressure down to Dable and Shane. Also to think about is DJ, for his career, has owned the Commanders. Granted, the Commanders are a new team. But if you're superstitious and you're also harping on old school ways, you keep the guy in that has historically beat up the team. Granted, it's not saying, but it's not. Oh,
writing's on the wall.
But
Joe sucks at home. This is a home game.
It doesn't matter for DJ because his record against the Commanders says otherwise.
I hear you. I just, like I said, the biggest concern I have with DJ is his injury clause, guys.
It is. So if you're John Mara, you're looking down at this team. All right, this is the guy that's beat up on the Commanders, one of our rivals. Leave him in for this game, and guess what? Who's he going to play next? The worst team in the NFL the past few years, in Germany. What's the worst could happen? Minus he gets injured.
He can get injured?
He can get injured. You have to pay him $20 million.
Well, actually, Germany has free healthcare. Does that count towards his towards his injury guarantee? Will they pay the injury guarantee if he gets hurt in Germany?
Oh
God.
Scheiße.
Imagine him at the airport. You cannot get in the country. I'm just saying, guys.
Mr. D. Jones. No.
It's like I feel like there's a lot of sane people that watch the Giants and say, "Why is Jones still out there?" And then there's this group of people that go, "No, he's the best shot. Give him this season's gone." Like what? Like, are we really keeping Jones out there because we think he's the best answer, and hopefully we'll go what 6-11? What does that get us? Even if you believe that Jones is the best answer, I don't believe, by the way, guys, anymore. But if you believe that, what does that do? You still haven't given time to DeVito at that point to, like I said, develop into a backup quarterback. You still have a guy who's can't throw the ball to guys like Neighbors and Robinson and Stride. Can't throw the deep rock to Slayton and Hyatt. Can't seem to remember that there's a position called tight end, and those guys are also allowed to catch the ball. I think that's the problem. We've had so many illegal men downfield. He thinks they're just linemen who forgot how to play.
Could be.
I think that's probably what it is.
And let's face it. Let's be real here. All right. So you play the Commanders, who play at home, like you said, terrible at home.
Yep.
Excuse me. Grant historically has beaten up on the Commanders, but probably his best case to win a game all year.
Yeah, but let's say hypothetically.
So there's hypothetical. Let me finish.
Go for it.
Let me go on a rant. Let me go on a little bit of rant.
Go for your rant.
Let me go on a little bit of rant.
Here, I'm just gonna
Up next, we're going to Germany. We're going to play the Panthers. And yes, it's not a prime time game, but guess what? It's still a prime time game even at 9 o'clock in the morning because we're still a team. Right? We're still playing the worst team out there. So maybe it's the second best chance to win a game. All right. Up next, then we host the Buccaneers. Do you think DJ has an opportunity to win against the Buccaneers? Probably not. Then we go to Dallas, who he has not played well against at all, and it's at 4:30, which means it's a primetime game. So it's probably America's game of the week because it's a division rival.
Oh, is it? That's not a primetime game still.
No, so not primetime, but it's America's game of the week.
It's a higher audience game because there's less games going on. We'll say
then we host the Saints, who have historically kicked the crap out of us when we play. So let's just put it out there. Then the Ravens come into town. You think he could beat Lamar? Like, you think we would repeat what we did 2 years ago? Probably not.
I would love to, but yeah.
Yeah, we would love to. All right, so then we go play. Then we go down right before Christmas. And Drew, we talked about this game, and I'm probably not going to go down there because we're going to suck so much that
you're not going to come and play the game. Come on.
Listen, if I'm going to play quarterback, I'll come down and play. But the Falcons are going to host the Giants.
Fellow Giants fans. That's what we're doing if we go to the Falcons game. I'll be at
the guess what? Guess what? The Colts are going to come up to MetLife. And maybe he can make an argument, but you know what? Flacco is going to probably be playing for him at that point. And
you know what? You know why we can't beat the Colts? Because they're smarter. They sat their quarterback.
Yeah, after 10 games. After 10 games, they sat their rookie quarterback.
We give this guy 6 years, and it's still like maybe he needs more time.
Shout out to Mace out there because that's where I read that from originally. Yeah. And then we're going to go back to Philadelphia to play the Eagles. So let's be real. If we're lucky, we win 3 games.
Yeah,
that's 5 wins on the year. Do we need to play DJ?
Even if hypothetically, like I said, if you hypothetically think DJ is the best option to win, it's not the best option long term. It's the best option for this year. If you think that, which again, I don't think you do either, Rob. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it's not. It's time to move on. It's past time to move on. You know, to me, we should have moved on last week. We were 2-5. You're not coming back from that and getting the playoffs. And if you do, it's because you went a little Emeril Lagasse, kicked it up a notch and spiced things up by changing things around at that point. You know, instead we're benching a corner midway through a game while the quarterbacks run around doing nothing except, fumbling and throwing interceptions.
Running around.
Yeah, like it's just not. I can't anymore. I really can't. It's just it's where I'm at. I'm fed up. And it's almost to the point where it's like it's hard to watch this team anymore because I just have so much passion for this damn team, and I'm watching it make the wrong moves. It's like when you got that friend that's dating the wrong person, and you want to tell them, but you don't want to be the guy to butt in, but you're going to say it, but you want to do it in a respectful way. It's like that. Like Giants. I'm talking to the team right now. Giants. Daniel Jones is not the one.
Yeah.
Daniel
Jones marry someone else.
Daniel Jones is psychologically abusing you. It's time to go. It's time to go. Like, it's just not a fit. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at, guys. All right, let's get to some comments here, and then because we got a whole lot here, and I want to give you guys a chance to chime in. We got a lot of people watching as well, guys. So real quick, if you haven't already, guys, do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit the share button. We go 3 times a week at least. Game time, we do another episode as well. So that's 4, and sometimes we do a play-by-play, which means 5 episodes. So let's see. Dakota says, not focused on what's important, like Neighbors. Yeah, we're focused on Neighbors. Neighbors is good. Nick says, love the stream. By the way, it's after putting the John Carter's Fire movie thing there. Appreciate it, Nick. Aries Den 84 says John Carter was a great movie. I suspect it was set up to fail, though. Yes, I don't disagree with that. Bad marketing. I had no clue what the movie was until I saw it. Big Dash knows what's up, man. Another one, guys. If you haven't liked and subscribed Dash yet,
He's a great listen.
Yeah, the man knows his stuff. And Dash, we just got to get you on the show, man. We got to do something together here. He says, "Great job on P. Show, Drew. Appreciate it, man." He says, "What's up, Rob?" And he says, "I don't believe it anymore either." That's what we're talking about. DJ being the best quarterback for the Giants at this point. I think that's when he said that. Let me know, Dash, if I'm wrong. I want to put words in your mouth there. Dwayne says, "Drew beat me to the punch. I was about to go up there. It's probably better because I might have yelled." Listen, I know Dwayne well enough to know that he probably would be respectful more than he thinks, even right now. But if you have somebody with an opinion you disagree on, and that's why I logged into P.'s show. I'm not going to go ahead and not take the chance to rebuttal it if nobody else is doing it, if I think that I disagree with it. But I'm not going to do it in a disrespectful way, because it's not going to get any point across. Yelling never solves anything. It really doesn't. And trust me, I got a bad temper. I don't think Rob's even seen my temper really fully on. It's bad. But, you don't accomplish things that way.
And Drew, we're the same way. 100%. I could go a full rage, Super Saiyan, if you will, but I don't, because when you disagree with someone in a respectful point of view, to show them how you disagree and maybe kind of shine a light on why you disagree, it's the best way to point across your situation, instead of putting the person down, shutting down their conversation, and not allowing them to talk to prove their point. The best speech out there is a better speech against bad speech.
And I think we all do this to a certain degree as well, and that's why I don't want to get angry with somebody who was a DJ fan and still sticking up for him. All of us do this that are fans. Content creators do it. People in the media like Paul do it as well. When you like a player and you feel like you have a strong opinion on a player in a good or negative way, you will do things subconsciously that feed into that.
Yes, 100%. And that's
Paul Dottino has been a DJ guy all along. And I think that's what it is he's just trying to take some of the heat off DJ and pop it onto Neighbors in that conversation. And like I said, I'm not saying Neighbors is perfect, but like I said in the show, we're expecting Neighbors to lead the entire team as a rookie. And that's putting too much on him, especially as a receiver, because a receiver can't do a damn thing until he gets the ball.
100%. And it's a damn good receiver will really extend the quarterback play. So if you don't have a really good damn receiver like you do in the Neighbors, that could extend that good quarterback play, and he's suffering, what does it say about your quarterback?
Dwayne also says, "I can't believe Paul is blaming struggles on Neighbors and said DJ's been playing great." I don't think he said that far. I don't think he say DJ played great, but and Dash agrees there. Dwayne says, "Not as long as Neighbors is dropping the ball, guys. According to Paul, he's our Achilles heel." Yeah, I said it definitely went a little crazy there. That's for sure. Deb says Giants will win just enough to screw up the draft like last year. That's part of my concern about putting DeVito in, is he might actually win some games. I still swear to you guys, we are a quarterback away from being a good team. If you look at what's going on, we got a top flight receiver now with Neighbors. We had an offensive line that before Thomas's injury was looking so much better, it's not even funny. And we'll have another year next year to improve on that, obviously. And we got a defense that's playing good and is getting the quarterback better than any other team in the entire league at that point. They just can't stop the run. We can work on that in the offseason as well. I really think we're a quarterback away, because a quarterback helps the offense. But guess what it also does, guys? When you're behind in games, what are you doing? You're passing the ball, which plays right into what our defense does well.
Yep, 100%. And know what else it does when the offense is not just constantly going 3 and out? They stay on the field, which means the defense does not have to go on the field every 3 minutes.
Yep.
And it just exhausts the ball as trying to stop the ball from going 80 yards down the rock.
Yep.
Yeah, it feels.
So Dwayne says, you know what? Why not sit Neighbors? I mean, 6 drop passes, right? Let's hold them accountable, LOL. Because, yeah, that's what one of the things that Paul Dottino was trying to say is that Neighbors has 6 drop passes. Now, I'll give you guys the stat as well, because this is kind of how I open up the conversation with them. And Rob, I'll see if you know, because to be very frank, I had no clue until I looked it up myself during this conversation. Who led the league in drops last year? What receiver?
Drop passes?
Yeah.
Definitely was not Malik Neighbors.
Well, no, he wasn't in the league last year.
Yeah.
It was. I'll give you the answer. It was Puka Nacua. Are you going to say Puka Nacua had a bad year last year?
As he said, all the freshman records? Yeah.
Every single one. I mean, it's
terrible. God, if Malik Neighbors could do that.
No, but wrong. Drops are important. You don't want to see drops. But at the same point, every player has issues. No player is perfect. You know, that's just life. There's going to be issues. Every single one has an Achilles heel.
But also remind me, I'm pretty sure the Rams' offensive line had a big downturn last year. And Matt Stafford was under pressure a lot and threw the ball like erratic, if you will, a little bit. Some people would say, and maybe not threw the best ball. Who doesn't? Yeah, at times. And who else has thrown the best ball? Even
well, that's the point I made. I said how many times is he not throwing it where he needs to for him either. So
yeah, granted, like there's been like drop passes that were in the numbers, but there's also like drop passes that are like over his head.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Just put your hands on it. It's a drop pass.
Or he's sitting there wide open, having to wait a couple seconds for DJ to find him and throw him the ball, and then he's getting popped in the back the second he does and drops the ball.
Yeah,
that's happened too. So, Deb says, but Dable is not moving on. I still don't want Dable to move on. I want to see him with DeVito, and I want to judge off the rest of the year that way, because I still have a lot of faith in Dable, but I'm also not willing to say that he's definitely the answer long term. But there's just something that tells me that this team hasn't given up yet. This is 2 years in a row that this team has not played well, but they're not giving up. And I'm not saying that's everything, guys. I'm not. But it says something is going right on Dable's side, because it is very, very easy to lose a team when you're 2-6. It's very, very easy to lose a team when you have half your starting lineup injured like they were last year. Very, very easy. Oh, she says, sorry, I meant Dable is not moving on from DJ. And I don't know who makes that call, guys, to be honest with you.
I think that comes higher up. I think it's higher
I'm not sure. And that's the thing. I don't know. Is that because I'm telling you, I think Shane and Dable have enough of a good relationship that if Dable went to Shane and said, you know what, it's time, then Shane would probably let him do it. And I think it's coming from higher. And I don't want to sit there and say it's definitely John Mara or somebody along that kind of line, but I just get this feeling that it is. And you know, we've talked about Mara on the show before, and I've said I don't think he's as meddling as people like to think he is. I think he's just a constant because he owns the team. Like the coaches change, the players change, the GM changes. John Mara is the constant. So because of that, he becomes a target of fans. But I feel like it's coming from somewhere.
Well, when John Mara comes out, last week or the week before, it says like, I have this issue where sometimes I get too involved in this and that, blah, blah, blah. And he pretty much admitted that sometimes he's too meddling.
Well, he said he's too quick to give up is what he said.
Yeah.
I would
say what does that mean? What does it mean? When
he's too slow to give up on DJ, not too quick.
Yeah, well, that's what he's talking about, his patience part of it. But when you talk about giving up too quick, BT's ready to move on pretty fast for the most part. So now, like when you're saying that he's gonna like take a step back and not, you know, when he talks about being more patient, like what does it mean?
Yeah.
Oh, let me be patient on the failing quarterback that we've had for 6 years now.
Yeah. As Deb also points out, Merritt did not get his way about keeping Barkley. And that's what I'm saying. I really think that's what it is, just because he's the constant is why he gets blamed. Everybody loves the owner when the team's winning. But as soon as the team's losing, all of a sudden the owner's meddling, the owner's this, the owner's that. Or listen, guys, this guy's been around football since he was in freaking diapers. He knows the sport. And while we may not agree with everything he does, like Deb said, if he had his way, Barkley would be in a Giants jersey right now. Let's be very frank, that was Shane 100%. And I'm not even saying that in a blaming way. Like, that's just a decision you made, and we'll have to see how that plans out. I'm not going to base that on the Giants-Eagles game like a lot of people are. Let's see how it plays out in the next couple of years. But if Mara wanted that, he would have done that. And like they were talking about in the quarterback conversation. Remember he talked about with Brandon Brown, I think the conversation was on Hard Knocks 2, where he's talking about when they traded up for Eli. And he was just saying, like, you have to have that conviction to do it. You just have to have conviction. Like, we had conviction in Eli. That was him kind of just giving advice and like, hey, if you guys have conviction, go for it. If you guys don't, then don't do it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't him meddling. It was kind of him giving the experience he has. And like I said, I'm not trying to say that he's been the GM. He's not Jerry Jones, obviously, and all that. But he's been involved in all these discussions his whole life, guys. He has a lot of football knowledge. He has a lot of football experience. I don't hate on Mara like a lot of people do. I think he's done some stupid things, like the medium cokes is the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it. Like I'm not against John Mara or the family, if you will. Yeah. Like there's certain things that you have to look at. Like you have to take back. Like, listen, medium cokes. Like, yes, he doesn't want to give on Barkley. Right. Perfect. Like, I get it, but at the same time, like, look at the benefits this year that we've gotten by not have Barkley here.
Yeah, we wouldn't have Brian Burns here, guys. Point blank, if we
no, who's been playing lights out. He's been playing great.
Yeah. So
right, and McKinney's also having. Let's just be real. McKinney's having a stellar year.
Yes. You say Stella? Stella.
No, stellar. That's Stella. I'm not from Boston. I can pronounce my R. Stellar. Stellar year. And our offensive line has looked like something we haven't had in over a decade.
Until Thomas got hurt. That just kind of killed the offensive line right there. I'm sorry, it did.
It did, but it still looks better than what we've had. Like, which isn't saying that much.
Not saying much, no.
Like, when your offensive line goes from 15 to 5 when you've been at 30 for the past decade, like we're still in the positive.
I'm there with you. Let's see. Lamar Adams says, "Is Cam Ward QB University of Miami, New York Giants, book it 2025?" Listen, I know there's a lot of people that are very high on him. We said it last year. We talked about the quarterbacks. I'll repeat it. Rob and I aren't necessarily the guys who sit down and watch every college game, but we watch a ton of college film and everything right when the season's over to get the draft guide going for you guys there. We do, I think, more content than any other Giants content creator on just the draft that I've at least come across. When we was at 180 players we scouted last year. I want to say something like that. It was ridiculously high. Like, it was insane. Yeah. We're gonna do probably this bye week. We're gonna do a special on. So we don't have a preview episode to do that week. We're gonna do a special on specifically a way too early guide to the college quarterbacks right now, and we'll see how many of those quarterbacks come out of the draft, because we had some that didn't even come out of the draft. Beck was one of them. Sanders was one of them last year. Ewers was one of them. So we had a couple of them last year we talked about didn't even come out. So let's see how many do. But we will do that this bye week for you guys, because there's a lot of people talking quarterbacks already, and rightfully so with everything going on. So, all right, let's get back to the topics at hand here, guys. We got Deonte Banks. Is he starting? Is he not starting? Because that's been one of the big questions here. One of the big questions, because obviously he got benched there last week. There's still some questions as to whether or not he got benched. We were going crazy on the live stream trying to figure out what it was during the game even. I'll say this, from everything I'm hearing, there was a couple of plays they didn't like. There's been a lot of speculation that there might have been some sort of exchange on the sidelines that they didn't like. I've heard a couple of content creators that are also beat writers that talked about maturity issues that he may have. And I'm wondering if maybe he just mouthed off to the wrong person finally.
Could be.
Listen, I was a stupid kid at one point too. I get it. I'll be playing. Like, that's the thing that people forget about these guys somehow. Like, I want all of us to sit back and remember we were like 22, 23 years old and how many times we said stupid things to our bosses we shouldn't have said. We forget it because we're so passionate about the team. We forget it because these guys are millionaires and somehow that's supposed to magically age them. We forget these things. He's a kid. I know he's a young adult, but he's a kid.
I look back on things and wonder why it wasn't punched in the mouth more often.
Yeah. So, but the more discouraging to me is that the fact that you're seeing other players now talk about things, like Brian Burns gave a comment about the team certain parts of the team need to grow up. Dexter Lawrence came out last week and made a comment. I mean, another one after this game as well. But Deonte Banks is going to start this week here. And that's the big thing we want to talk about because it's going to be interesting to see what happens. We said before we expected a big game out of him this week because of the fact that he got called out for his play against the Eagles. And it didn't really happen. There was they didn't throw the ball like crazy, so I can't sit there and give that kind of craziness there. But his attempt to tackle Najee Harris when he got hurdled, I'm sorry, you hold on to the goddamn leg. I know, Rob, you disagree with me on that one.
I disagree. I do.
And that's fine. I'm putting it out there, so it's not just. I know I'm putting out.
That's the most hate he's been getting about that game.
Yeah, but there was also apparently the touchdown that wasn't to George Pickens when he knocked him out of bounds. Apparently, there was some issue the Giants had with how he was in that play, and that's one of those things that because we don't know the play, we don't know exactly what the issue was. But there was clearly everybody talking. There was an issue with him and his coverage in that play. There was a couple other plays I didn't necessarily like either. I know there was one to George Pickens before that touchdown that wasn't. I got to clarify the touchdown that wasn't. But there was another play he had. It was toward the sidelines, and he did a horrible job of trying to get him after the catch, and he ended up getting like 10 more yards out of it there. There was a couple of plays that they just didn't like. I know Dan Duggan did a deep dive on all the plays and trying to figure it out himself, and he couldn't figure out the exact. And that's why everybody thinks it's got to be something he did or said on the sidelines that was kind of the last straw. So I'm just hoping that...
Which I agree with. That it has to be, because after rewatching that game, like some of the plays, like yes, I get how some people get upset, but like, and that we all watched that tackle in slow motion when Najee like legit hurled him. He hurled him. He jumped 6 feet over a guy. Like that. Listen, the average person does not do that.
No.
And the average NFL player does not do that.
No.
And Najee Harris is, let's face it, like if you want to talk like ranking in the running back mill, like just smidge above average.
Yeah, I would say he's somewhere in the 10 to 15 range, probably.
Yeah, like I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but like
he's a legit starting running back.
Yeah.
He's above average, but he's not Barry Sanders.
Yeah, it's a smidge above average. Like a year ago, 2 years ago, like he was, in a committee. Like he's it's not someone that you think about it being the guy that's going to hurl you.
Yep.
Like
100%. I think the big thing is though that it's just got to be a lesson learned for him.
It has to be.
And not that I think Deonte Banks is listening, but if you are listening, Deonte,
please jump on the podcast.
Step one, besides hopping on the podcast, we'd definitely love to have him on the show. Step one, you need to stand up at the next team meeting this week and say, I was wrong. I apologize. I let all of you down. And you need to be sincere about it, because that goes a long way when you do that. I will say that's a one-time get out of jail free card, and that's it, though, guys.
I wouldn't even go as far as you have to apologize.
No, you have to.
Those.
Trust me. In that scenario, you have to apologize, and you have to do it publicly to all of your teammates. I'm telling you right now, that's the only way he's going to get people to kind of, I won't say forget, because you don't forget what the things he did. And I'm not talking about just this last game. I'm talking about the Eagles game. I'm talking about being called out prior time as well. He needs to sit there and say, I let you guys down. I apologize. I want to be a positive member of this team. I haven't been. That's on me.
All right. So you put it that way. All right. I'm going to say apologize for the gameplay, but apologize for not being what you expected. Yeah. All right. Fine.
That's what he's to do. I'm telling you right now, if he does that, and he actually changes his ways,
I'll give you that.
Within a week or two, we'll be like, "What game was that again? He got hurdled on that by that running back."
Yeah.
What game was that again?
I'll give you that. You're right. Listen, I'll give you that.
Yeah. Listen, we're all thinking about it now because it just happened. That's why we're all thinking about it now. I guarantee you, if he plays like he should play, and again, I've said it before in the show, I don't think he's a number 1. I think he's a number 2 corner, at least at this point in his career. But if he just plays solid at the CB position, in a couple of weeks, this all is gone. People don't even talk about it anymore. It's good. It's done. It's over.
I mean, yeah. All right. I'll give you that. Like, if he just comes out and says, like, listen, I was expected to play at this high level. I didn't play. But I promised to play at a better position. Like, it doesn't have to 100% be an apology, but like it has to be remorseful. It needs to be an apology.
I'm telling you,
it has to be.
Again, I'm not claiming that I was like a top flight football player. I've said it before. I was starting left bench in high school, but like
he has to be remorseful about his actions.
There's a different mentality at that point because guys in that locker room will not look at it like you let yourself down. They're looking at it as you let us down, you let the team down, you let every person in this room down. And when you have people that think that, whether or not you agree, Banks doesn't have to necessarily agree with that. He just needs to change his ways. If he does it for the selfish reasons, whatever, that's between him and himself at that point. But he needs to say it for the people that are in the team that are looking at him to go ahead and move on from that scenario.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to 100% apologize. You have to be remorseful. And
that's an apology. You're remorseful is apologizing.
Not necessarily. There's ways around how you say it. Politicians do it all the time. You have to, but you have to
not have sexual relations with that woman.
I just put a cigar up her. Anyway. All he has to do is really he has to admit to like he did not play as best he could, but promised to play at the highest level he could going forward. Do you have to 100% apologize? I don't agree with that. You can say that. We could disagree. That's why we did tonight. But as long as you give the promise of playing better going forward, that's what's more of an assess than apologizing for bad play. Even because
effort, it's the attitude. That's what he needs to apologize for.
Well, that's it. We're speculating on the attitude. The effort is questionable. Like, because yes, he did let off the gas 2 weeks ago against the Eagles. I don't agree with you. Like we already said it before. I don't agree that he let off the gas when he tried to tackle Najee Harris. Like I think it was just he made a play that he thought was going to be best, and it was just terribly missed. It was a terribly bad play. Or just better said,
happened to drop him like that to bench him. Something. That's not a like you had one word that the coach didn't like. Like you had to have done something. Something happened there. I'm telling you that, and I'm not claiming to know what, but something happened because I'm telling you right now. Maybe if I was his agent, or a friend, or a family member, or somebody in his life, I would be emailing him the top story from the Indianapolis Star, whatever the hell paper they have in Indianapolis, of Anthony Richardson being benched
after 10 games,
and saying, "Dude, get your stuff in gear." Because
everyone gets a DJ chance.
Not everybody gets 6 years. You know, Or, maybe show him, what happened with DeAndre Baker. I mean, granted, I'm not saying he's going to a poker game with a gun or whatever the hell Baker was accused of. I can't remember exactly what the accusation was off the top of my head, but it was something along those lines, if I remember correctly. But, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that happens. You see guys sometimes get dropped, and talent only gets you so far.
100%. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Once again,
yeah,
we'll agree to disagree. I think he
needs to texting you, by the way.
He was. He's like,
keep my name out of your mouth.
Thanks.
Keep your name out of my mouth.
No, it was definitely Banks saying.
Oh, it was Banks.
Thanks. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you.
DBs.
I
just realized that both our initials are DB.
Yeah. I'll acknowledge the team later.
All right. Well, let's get in talking about a player who will definitely not be playing. That's for sure. And then after that, we're going to take a quick break there and pay the bills there. So, player we're talking about, of course, that will not be playing here this weekend, Javarius Owens. Remember him? We all forgot about him, right? Because he's been sitting on the practice squad, hasn't been playing any games at all. But Javarius Owens, the 7th round pick from 23, is officially been cut by the Giants. And this isn't the first time we cut him. Remember, right? We cut him and then put him on the practice squad. Well, this time he got cut from the practice squad. That's kind of the last step, guys.
Yeah, that's bye.
So this could be officially the second of the Joe Shane picks to officially be gone. Yes. So, yeah, that's not good when listen, 7th round pick. I'm not going to beat a GM at a bad 7th round pick, but not a good look, that's for sure, guys.
Nope.
All right, let's pay the bills real quick, guys, and then we'll be right back there.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. Buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
All righty, guys. And, of course, if you want to support the show, you can also do so with a super chat there on YouTube, or you can also do it by setting stars on Facebook as well. There's plenty of options, that's for sure. But, we definitely appreciate you guys just even for tuning in. It means a lot. So I know there's plenty of other options, to who you're going to go to for your Giants news and who you want to listen to during the week there, leading up to the games and all. But, again, appreciate you guys for listening in. Let's get into... let's see. We actually got a couple more comments here. Lamar Adams says to Sanders and Jalen Milrow talking about other quarterbacks there. And then Omega Supreme, what's up, man? Says I had to stop watching the Yankees game. WTF. I don't know what the score is in that, to be honest. I don't really watch baseball. So I used to like it as a kid, but it's 5-5. It's 5-5 in the mid-fifth. So Giants, there's Giants. Yankees might have a shot. See if they can get, they got to get 3 more wins in a row, including this one, though, to win the series. But at least know that much, even though I watch baseball. All right. Let's get into. Oh, we got another comment here. I thought that was a new one. Same one. All right. Let's get into the next topic here, guys. We'll wait for Rob to pop back in here in a second. We got to talk about Chris Hubbard. Chris Hubbard is officially going to be starting again at left tackle, guys, for the New York Giants. Now, there is obviously the issue of Josh Ezeudu. Josh Ezeudu is now on the injury list, and so that we got that issue going on there. Plus, let's be honest, he really didn't play, very well that prior week. But he's officially not practicing as of right now. He had his knee drained, so. That's not good when you get your knee drained, that's for sure. So the big thing is going to be, does this mean DJ Humphries is not coming? Because that's what I thought was going to happen when DJ Humphries came in and then didn't go ahead and get signed. And then all of a sudden, you got issues of the Chris Hubbard play, which was quite frankly horrendous last week, guys. And then now you thought, okay, well, maybe DJ Humphries comes in this time. But he didn't. I mean, we don't know still what's going on with his situation medically. That's part of it. It was week 17. He had the ACL tear, so we'll have to see what happens. But the other thing is we also have now the Vikings to compete with for DJ Humphries. So Christian Darrisaw was like their version of Andrew Thomas, basically. And he is right now also injured. So there's been rumors they might be looking at him at Minnesota as well. Now, if you were DJ Humphries and you were trying to build your value back up, would you want to go to the Giants?
Probably not.
Or would you want to go to the Vikings?
I would send the Vikings.
Yes.
You're talking about a team that maybe they're definitely a playoff potential team, which unless they go on a straight up losing streak, they're not going to make plays.
That's when Eagle implode at that point, basically.
Yeah.
To not get in the playoffs at this point, you would think.
But you're looking at a team that's definitely an NFC Championship caliber team.
Yes.
The way they've been playing. Or do you want to go to a team that's going to be rebuilding that has a quarterback that you don't know is going to be the quarterback next year? Granted,
yeah. Well,
you have that in Darno too.
That's not the issue. The issue is that you're going to play on teams that go to the playoffs. You can get a lot more eyes on you when that happens. Let's be honest. Down the stretch, a lot of people are watching the Vikings and be watching the Giants. That's just life. So
the only plus is if you feel that confident in your play, and you go to the Giants and you make that much of a difference for the Giants, that's your selling point.
I'll put it this way: the only two reasons DJ Humphries would pick the Giants over the Vikings: money, or because he grew up a Giants fan.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he grew up a Giants fan, by the way. I don't know who he was a fan of as a kid or whatever, but that's the only reason I can think of why you would pick the Giants over them. So, that's where it's staring at the barrel of. So if that's the case, guys, that means for the rest of this year, we might be looking at Chris Hubbard at left tackle. And I think the big thing we got to hope is that Chris Hubbard was coming in off the streets, coming off the couch there almost basically, because of the practice squad for the Niners, and doesn't know the playbook, doesn't have any rapport with with John Runyon or anybody else at that point. You got to hope that maybe some of that settles down. And we don't know. We'll find out. But there was also talk from Dable even that Daniel Jones missed some shifts and some things at that point to do to help the pass protection. That was Dable saying it, even not me. He said it, especially on the strip sack, for example. That's when he specifically said DJ was supposed to slide protection, didn't do it, and he said DJ was pissed at himself for it. But he pissed as he wants. I don't care. He still messed up. He still did it on a very important part. So, like I said, for now, Chris Hubbard is a starting left tackle. What happens down the line? Who knows? Part of why we don't know what's going to happen at left tackle, though, is because we just signed 2 tackles today, guys. Woo! Signed some shiny new players here. But keep in mind, like I always say, this late in the year, you sign somebody who's available. There's 2 reasons why they're available. They're coming off injury, or they're probably not any good. These guys are not coming off injury. That's all I'm going to say. Garrett Greenland, 6'6". You know what? And I meant to look this up too as well, because the first article I had for him listed him at 210 pounds, and I'm like, that cannot be. He had 311 pounds. They were off by 100.
I was about to say.
Because I did a double take when I saw the notes. I forget who wrote the first article I saw, but they said it was 210 pounds. I'm like, that's like a running back or a safety. I
was about to say that.
Yeah,
he definitely.
310 pounds. He was originally an undrafted rookie free agent last year in 23 from South Dakota State. Oh yes, the powerhouse school, South Dakota State. Spent all of last year with Seattle in their practice squad. Was cut by them August 30th, so he's in there throughout camp and has been unemployed ever since. The second guy we signed, Marcellus Johnson. Now, if that name rings a bell, one of 2 things is happening. Either you're a very devoted Giants fan or you listen to the show. Either way, thank you. Because we talked about him. This is one of the guys we brought into the rookie mini camp in the beginning of the year, and he actually made it into the actual camp itself. He was an undrafted rookie free agent from Eastern Michigan. Was literally playing for Missouri, but when's last year up to Eastern Michigan to get some more playing time because he was mostly playing on special teams for Missouri. So was their left tackle. Since then, after we cut him, he's actually been spending a lot of time on the Minnesota Vikings practice squad. and was cut last week by them. Now, I will say this again, guys. What did I talk about with DJ Humphries on the prior segment? I said the Vikings just lost their starting left tackle, Christian Darrisaw. Therefore, this guy was still available, and they didn't pick him back up again. And we already cut him once. So, again, I'm not trying to sit there and be overly optimistic on these guys. Who knows?
No.
Maybe all of a sudden, Carmen Brasillo sees something and changes something up in their form or whatever, and all of a sudden they're much better. I don't know. But I just don't see it. Corresponding moves, we're going to talk about one that the Giants released our second-year safety, Javarius Owens, last year's draft class. We also dropped a regular on the show, Jacob Johnson, the fullback, who gets dropped and picked up and dropped and picked up and dropped and picked up. He's like a basketball. Like, it just gets dribbling around this roster everywhere, between the active roster, the practice squad, to the streets at that point. It's like he'll probably pick him up next week. Who knows? So, yeah. Like I said, two guys we got. Two guys I have no really high hopes for, but who knows? That's how things work sometimes. Sometimes you get somebody you have no high hopes for, and they shock you. Was anybody excited when we signed Victor Cruz as an undrafted rookie free agent? Like, no, a kid from UMass.
But Giants fans have not forgotten about Victor Cruz.
And that's why I just bring up as an example. Like I said, I'm not saying that these guys will be the Victor Cruz of tackles. This is not a JPP of tight ends kind of scenario. I'm just trying to say that, like, sometimes they shock you. And sometimes they're better than what you think. So hopefully that's
especially at the tackle position too. Like sometimes like you come to the NFL, you get shell shocked because like there's some guys come into the NFL and they're expected to be the big guy, and they're not the big guy anymore.
Nope.
And they get crushed. Some guys come here as a smaller guy, and they got all that heart and just push, and they exceed very well.
It's also Josh Azuto's getting his knee drained. We said that. So therefore, someone's going to have to be a backup tackle. They might be the guys. I mean, that's where we're at, kind of. Unless you want to move one of the guards out, but those guards haven't played in that position before. So, like I said, we'll have to see what they do there. But let's talk about a guy that we don't expect, though, to see next week. Or this week coming up, I should say. And that's Tyrone Tracy Jr. I hate to put it out there, guys, but you know how many players go into the concussion protocol and play next week? Especially
about zero this week. About zero this year.
There was one this year that I heard of, and I forget who it was, but there was one I know I heard on. I was actually listening to the Locked On Commander show today because I like to listen always to podcasts of other team we're facing, and they talked about it. They said there was one. I can't remember who it was for the life of me. But yeah, he's in the concussion protocol. Again, we played Monday night, so not Sunday afternoon. So we lost 36 hours of recovery time right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, I would not expect to see Tyrone Tracy in this game. Will I be happy if I would do? Of course. I mean,
it's stacked.
That means that he gets cleared by doctors. So I mean, it's not like I'm saying he's risking himself. So yeah.
Especially because like he's been I mean, we've talked about Tracy Jr. before, but quite a few times over the past month, but like he's legit like coming or like our RB1 very slowly and very maniacally. Like he's not overtaking Singletary, let's be real, but he's been playing good enough that over the past month, like where he should be our starter.
I mean, I would say he is the starter at this point blank. I mean, look at the 20-2 carries between him and Singletary last week. So that to me says who the starter is right there.
Well, all right. So what was the difference to the week prior?
Oh yeah, not even nearly, not nearly. And like I said,
so when you go 1 week, when you go week by week, and you're looking at how these guys play against different teams, like it is a clear path. It's a clear path. You're right. Like Tracy is becoming our starter, like, and he should be because he's been lights out, fantastic against a lot of good run defenses too. But And you can't take it away from Singletary. Like, veteran in the
can't
league.
Get away from me. Oh, no.
Yeah, Singletary's been a veteran in this league and been great. He's been a great B+ running back. But
And he had a
Tracy,
good number of yards against the Commanders last time, so maybe it won't be so bad. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Maybe it won't be so bad. So, all righty, let's talk about people that we do expect to see them on Sunday, and then the Sunday after that, and then the Sunday after that. Well, I guess not the Sunday after that, because we're going to the bye week at that point. But you know what I mean.
We're gonna buy
Azeez Ojulari and Darius Slayton. They've been people talk about trading those two, and from everything I'm reading and everything I'm seeing, the beat writers and the guys who have more insight than we do at that point are telling us that unless the Giants get blown away, those guys probably aren't going anywhere. I was actually listening to the Giants Insider. Those guys were live just an hour and a half before us, and while I was doing our show notes, I was listening to those guys, and I posed a question to them that didn't get answered. Not that I'm knocking them. They get other, when you get a lot of questions, you can't answer them all. But I was kind of curious of this scenario because, Jameson over in Detroit got caught with a gun, I guess, in his car or something like that. So he's going to be out for a while.
Yeah.
Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson is out for a while. So I'd be curious people would do if, let's say, Detroit calls up and says, "I'll give you a 3rd round pick. I want Azeez Ojulari and Darius Slayton." Because you and I have talked about this before. Like, I'm not trading these guys away for a 5th round pick, 6th round pick. Like, DeAndre Hopkins got a 4th round pick for the Titans. So what is Slayton really worth?
That is very interesting.
I'm throwing it out there. False scenario.
It's funny because, like, doing work this past week, I got super busy, and I saw some of the stuff coming up, and I'm like, you're looking at the Lions team, which some would argue coming into this year could be a Super Bowl caliber team.
Yep.
And then you go through all these, injuries, if you will, quote unquote.
Injuries and stupidities and
but
I mean, to me, Jameson Williams, I know he got the draft pedigree, but Jameson Williams is basically been playing to the level of Darius Slayton. He's got 361 yards on the year right now. We can look to see what Darius Slayton is doing as of right now. I don't have his exact numbers off the top of my head here, but he's been consistently a 700-yard guy. He's got 420 yards. He's actually outplaying him right now. So then you got a guy like Aiden Hutchinson, who it's very hard to replace a guy like that. And I'm not going to say Ojulari is as good a player as Aiden Hutchinson is. That'd be insane. But I would say he's about as good a player as you're going to find right now to trade for that could replace some of what he does. Because Ojulari, the way he's playing the last few weeks at least, you can make the case he's just as good a pass rusher as Hutchinson is. He's just nowhere near as good against the run. I've heard people call him the Giants version of Yannick Ngakoue. I mean, that's probably not the worst analogy. He's a really good pass rusher. He does nothing for you against the run. It's what he does. But if I'm the Lions, I could see where that trade would have the value for me because you're a good team. It's the back end of a 3rd round. So it's not like it's like, an early 3rd round pick. It's a late 3rd round pick you're giving up at that point. You're getting 2 guys that are both rental players, by the way. So they replace your guys for the rest of the year, and that's it. So assuming, Jameson comes back from whatever legal issues he's having. I don't want to get too much into that because I don't pretend to be an expert on, Michigan law or exactly everything going on with the Lions. Hutchinson comes back next year. Well, those 2 guys are gone. And if you go on even a deep playoff run like you did last year, that move looks worthwhile.
100%.
Because you're the Lions. I hate to say it that way. Like, I'm not trying to disrespect their fans. I have a lot of respect for fans to stay with the team that's been horrible forever. I always say that. I will always say that. Jets fans, Lions fans, Browns fans, you somewhat throw in the Bucks. They've had a couple of Super Bowls, obviously, during that time frame, but most of their time frame has been horrible. Those fans are legit fans. So if you're telling me the Lions wouldn't love to go on a second back-to-back playoff run, it's worth a third-round pick.
Yeah.
Now, is it worth it to them? I don't know. Is it worth it to us even though? Like, would you take that, Rob? I see you're torn. I am myself, I gotta say.
I am very torn. Because you have to think, right?
You know what? And I'll tell you this part of it while you're thinking of it. The only reason that I'm even bringing this up, besides the fact that it's the one.
Well, you also have to think about it too. This is the thing, right? So we talk about first round picks, right? So
yeah,
we're over here. So it's a late third round pick.
But I'm looking at it as ammo to move up if I have to get a quarterback.
Yes, that's the only other thing. Is like if you're
that's the only reason it intrigues me at all. Because to be very frank, I want to keep Ojulari. I want to keep Slayton. They're two good players. They're still youngish. Slayton's probably got 2-3 more years if we start talking to him as a savvy veteran. But,
yeah.
Ojulari's only been in the league 4 years. So they're both younger players. I want to keep both those guys. I can't sit there and say that everybody does. I know that. I want to keep them. But you also have to pay him after this year.
You do. Especially Ojulari. Slayton.
Hopefully there's a $40 million contract coming off the books that might help get us some money. I mean, really, in all fairness, guys, we don't have a lot of contracts coming off the books that are bigger. So we got like Ojulari, you got Slayton, you got Jason Pinnock, and I think Micah McFadden. Is he?
Is that CJ?
I'm trying to think. Is this his third or fourth year now? Actually, this might be his third year. So, yeah, we don't have any really big name free agents, guys. It's not like last year. Last 2 years, we got to figure out how to sign Barkley and DJ, or we got to figure out how to sign what we're going to do with Barkley and McKinney. Like, there's no more big decisions like that. I would try to sign them both. Can't guarantee you would, but even if you want to trade him, I say, listen, guys, expect the call the second free agency opens up.
Yeah, right.
Give them as rentals like that. But like I said, I honestly, in my heart of hearts, I wouldn't take it because I don't think anybody you get in the late third round is better than those two guys, especially put together. And I want to keep them long term.
So the only thing I have to take back, the only thing like you have to look at and take back is Slayton, right? We've had the same coaching staff for the past 3 years, and what have they done the past 3 years?
Try to get rid of them each time.
Yeah, pretty much. Or get rid of Slayton, either or.
I was saying Slayton, they try to get rid of him. I feel like every single chance they can. I mean, they refuse to play him at first. They all until he forces his way on the field into a horrible year for receivers in that roster. They
has a good
panned out.
Has a decent, decent and good, if you will.
Both those guys, out, they both hit the open market or $10 million a year players, each of them.
100%.
Now, whether or not they get that, they're worth it. Based on what you were seeing just last year. We'll see if they actually get it, but they're worth it. So, all righty, guys. It's been an hour and 5 minutes. We haven't even touched the game yet.
Let's go.
Let's go into the game here, guys, because it is Giants Commanders Part 2. Now, we're doing this a little different, guys, because of the fact that we've already played them once. I'm not going to give you the full rundown of all the players and all. You already got that a couple weeks ago. Just 6 weeks ago. Not much to change in a month and a half. But we're going to talk about kind of more comparisons on what we did for that first matchup versus what we should do this time and that kind of stuff. What has changed since then? That kind of stuff there. So let's get right into it for the Giants when they're on offense. Now, the biggest thing right off the bat, difference-wise between week 2 and this week will be the Giants will have a kicker.
Touche.
Just throwing that out there. We can actually kick the ball if we have to. So that'll be the big thing there. Daniel Jones, last matchup, 16 of 28, 178 yards and 2 touchdowns. That was one of only 3 games this year. I'm sorry, one of 3 games this year he's had 2 touchdowns on the season. Which, by the way, those 3 games with 2 touchdowns in each of those games account for all of his touchdowns in the entire year passing-wise. He's had 3 2-touchdown games. Doesn't make it very difficult to tell you the math there that there's been 8 games. Therefore, 5 of those games he has not thrown a single touchdown. Not a very good ratio. It's also one of 3 games he had under 60% completion at 57.1%. So threw a couple touchdowns, threw a whole lot of misses. And I remember this game very well. This was the game that they kept forcing the ball to Neighbors nonstop.
Yep.
This was the game that DJ overthrew some deep throws to Neighbors, to Slayton. This was a game that I remember you and I flipping out about to each other about the fact that just missed opportunities that Jones had because he just couldn't get the ball where he had to get it. Couldn't do it, point blank.
Nope.
So we also talked about in this game, obviously, Tyrone Tracy Jr. is not expected to play because of concussion protocol, as we mentioned earlier. Devin Singletary will be the starting quarterback. Sorry, starting running back. He should be the starting quarterback, probably over DJ, but it's like the end of the Bears game 2 years ago. Remember when Saquon was the quarterback?
Yeah, when DJ and
Still won that one. Still won that one. But yeah, Devin Singletary is going to be the starting running back in that game. So 16 carries, 95 yards, and 1 touchdown. That was his numbers last time. He was the starting running back then. This is before the Seahawks game when all of a sudden Tracy came on the scene. Now, 16 carries, 95 yards. That doesn't seem like a bad ratio overall. So you consider this. In that game, he had 3 decent runs. 1 massive run, a 43-yard one. That's the one he slid to avoid scoring the touchdown. He also had a 20. No, sorry. This one he slid was the Browns game. So it wasn't that one. He had a 43-yard of the running though against the Commanders. He had a 22-yard run and he had an 18-yard run. That totals 83 yards with those 3 runs. So that tells you the rest of the time was 13 carries for 12 yards.
But a lot of that game was about 1.4.
And remember that the whole entire game, it was like, what the hell? Like 1 yard, 1 yard, 1 yard. Like he stunk. And then all of a sudden he just had a couple of big runs towards the end of the game. And that's what makes his numbers look better than they were. His numbers were not good, guys.
No.
They were not. Those stats are totally overblown because he got that 1 massive run. You can just take out that 1 massive run and say 15 carries at that point for, what would it be, 53 yards. And that's an average day. It's not a great day, but 16 carries for 95 yards sounds really good.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what happens. Hopefully the Giants can open some holes for him and get some things rolling. Obviously, Eric Gray is probably going to get some snaps in this game as well. I would be very ecstatic, I'm sure, as Rob would, if Dante Turbo Miller got a couple of chances to run the ball because
Turbo time.
With him out, I mean, you got to think they're gonna bring him up to the active roster. They need to throw a running back.
You would hope so.
You would hope so. And correct me if I'm wrong, but he was brought up twice already with the injury to Singletary, which means he's already been called up twice in the practice squad, which means they have to sign him to the active roster.
So that's
Now, if you have to sign him to the active roster, you might as well use him and see if you want to actually keep him there, or if you want to drop him and risk losing him for the chance to put him back on the practice squad. I'd be curious to see him used more. I mean, by more, I mean at all. Just say it. At the very least, give him chances to return kicks because Eric Gray sucks at it. And yet we keep trotting him out there to do it.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
At the very least, you can give him that opportunity. I just don't feel like the Giants are doing right by him right now. And maybe I'm crazy. It's not like I'm in there during practice. Obviously, the Giants get more time to see him than I do. But the rest of this year, it's about giving young players a chance to see what they can do. We've given Eric Gray plenty of chances to see what he can do on the kick return. We haven't given him a ton of chances necessarily on the running back side. He's been very good at screens. We haven't given much chance at the running back side, though. But yeah, I want to see some turbo. It's turbo time.
Yeah.
It's turbo
time.
Receiver wise in that first game, Malik Neighbors 10 receptions, 127 yards and a touchdown. Darius Slayton 2 for 33. Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton 3 for 33.
That's what I said.
Wan'Dale Robinson 2 for 18 and 1 touchdown. Not a single player had a receiving yard besides those three. Devin Singletary did have 1 catch, but it was for 0 yards. You can't play that way again. And like I said in the beginning, this was a game they were force feeding the ball to Neighbors like you wouldn't believe, and he made a lot of nice plays in that. I remember there's a lot of plays that he would get the ball like 5 yards down the field on like a 3rd and 10, and have to go around, and all of a sudden how she stretch out to like 11, 12 yards and get that first down. There was a couple plays he had in that game. He did that. He also had the big drop towards the end though too. Can't not say that. Paul Dottino get mad at me. Just kidding. I'm a stinker, but it's like,
and for the Yank fans out there, the Yankees just took the lead.
Did they?
Yep, 6-5.
But I mean, that's something we got to fix this time. We can't just be forcing the ball to Neighbors. You got to throw the ball around. DJ's got to be more effective overall as a quarterback, because we stopped them a lot of times for field goals, and we'll get to the Commanders' offense a little bit. We stopped them a lot, though, for field goals, and they're a much better offense now than they were back then. This offense has to put points on the table to win.
Yes.
And that sounds like common sense. But
well,
we're not going to win by scoring 15 points, guys.
Yeah. When we've talked about playing the Commanders 7 times since we started this podcast. And it was easy enough to say we have to outplay them, because as silly as it sounds, like there wasn't much we had to do. But now you're talking about a team that might win this division.
Yep.
And has been playing really good offensive football. And they legit, like, people talk about how great the Cowboys are going to be this year, or how great the Eagles are going to be this year. But the Commanders are probably going to win this division. And they're probably going to win like 9 or 10 wins. But like, that's besides the point. Like, their offense is putting up points. They're putting up points when it matters against good teams and being good teams. Granted, we also what happened with the Bears last week, and a silly Hail Mary wins the game. But
crazy. That's crazy.
Super crazy. But
super crazy.
But that's the same offense that we're going to play against. That's crazy Hail Mary. So
we can't score 18 points like we did week 2, guys. I mean, the other thing about it is, we lost the time possession in that game, big time. Our offense has got to stay on the field. Our offense has got to put touchdowns up. I know it sounds crazy, but touchdowns. We put 2 up in that game, but still, we need to put some touchdowns up. We need to get things rolling.
Yeah.
This has got a high-powered offense that we're facing. And when you face a high-powered offense, besides the fact you have to play good defense, your offense has to go ahead and help out the defense by putting points on the board. And we haven't been able to do that.
Well, that game is also what's the right word for it? It's crazy because we threw 3 we had scored 3 touchdowns that game. No extra points.
Yeah, we kept going for 2.
Well, we went for 2 twice. We missed the 1 extra because of kicker play.
Well, it's Jamie Gillen is who they had doing it. I remember, right?
Yeah, the first one. But I mean, that's the only time this year we scored 3 touchdowns.
How sad is that?
Did
we not do score 3 against the Seahawks?
No, you're right. We did.
We probably did. We got 29 points. I mean, I
Yeah,
remember
that
that off
makes
the top of my head. It's our best offensive game by far. No, DJ had. Let's see. DJ had 2
Did
touchdowns.
we return one, right? One was the defensive.
And yeah, that's it's got to be a third touchdown for 29 points. Obviously, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I can go to the scoring summary real quick. Let's see. Wandale gets a pass for a touchdown, field goal. Slayton gets a touchdown pass thrown to him, field goal, and then that's right. Bryce Ford Wheaton, remember?
Yeah, I was about to say.
There we go. That's what we're forgetting. So yeah, technically they haven't scored 3 touchdowns on offense besides that game.
Pretty much sums up the whole season thus far.
Yeah. And like I said, we can't against this team put up 18 points. Can't be done. Not gonna win. Not gonna happen. So, and there was nobody in particular on defense on their side that really did anything that spectacular. There was no star of the show on their side, and we put up 6 yards per play. We were 50% on third downs. We're 50% on fourth downs. We only got DJ sacked 1 time in the game. Obviously, this is pre-Andrew Thomas injury. Had a fumble loss, but no interceptions. It's not like you can sit there and say there were so many issues on this offense. We just couldn't get the job done points-wise. And that was the game that if we had a kicker, we would have won probably.
Yes.
Because there was 1, we would have gone for a field goal. There was 3 extra points we would have probably gotten at that point. That's, right there, that you're talking about 6 points. We would have been up to 24 to 21 at that point.
Well, we would have been up 14-7 at one point, which would change the game and how the Commanders would have played the game.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's just crazy.
We talk with the extra point after missing the first one. Yeah. That was bad.
All righty, guys.
Anyway, let's talk about the defense.
Let's get into defense here. Yeah. It's time for some defense.
Let's talk about the D.
Whoa, we can't talk about that. It's not that kind of show.
Fence.
Oh, okay, there we go. So last time, here's the big one for me, because I don't think this is going to happen again. But we talked about Deonte Banks before, and he's going to be starting, obviously, and playing in this game. Last time we played the Commanders, Terry McLaurin had just 22 yards, guys. That's it. He's averaging on every game but the one against us, the other 7 games they played, 79.6 yards per game. My big question is, can we repeat that? Is that legitimate to think we can? Because this team had trouble. Remember, they put up 7 field goals against us. Couldn't put up touchdowns. 7 field goals. And the big thing is they didn't have a receiver that did anything in the game, basically. Can Scary Terry do it? Because this is not the first time he faced Banks. He faced him once the year before as a rookie. When Banks' rookie year. And he got 65 or 70 yards, I want to say, in that matchup. I can always double check the stats on there, but it was around that. So wasn't his best game, but wasn't his worst like this. 22 yards is really unheard of for Scary Terry. He's probably one of the most underrated receivers in this league, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a very safe and fair statement.
Yeah, I mean, look at
it. Also underutilized. Scary Terry is, and there's so many memes that's gone around the internet since Daniel has got there of how amazing of a deep threat that guy could actually be when utilized properly.
Yeah. I mean, he's his first 5 years in the league, he had 5,300 yards. With that cluster of bad quarterback play all over the place. Like I said, a very underrated player. I don't think it's legitimate that we can sit there and go, yeah, we'll get him for 22 yards again. That's it. You have to plot for more yards out of him. So,
you have to figure out we'll play week 2. We'll play them week 3. Yeah. Week 3.
Yep. Week 2.
Yeah. So you're talking about a brand new quarterback to a team.
And that's the other thing.
Who is now halfway through the season
Whoa.
More rapport, like you said. Whoa, like and actually, like whoa, Bon Jovi rest stop still not open yet. Damn.
You
But
just
anyway.
rest up. But yeah, I mean, Jaden Daniels is now more seasoned player in the league. He had a 71.8 completion percentage in this game. He's got a 79.3 completion percentage. 71.8 completion percentage on the season, which is leading the NFL. He had a 79.3 completion percentage against the Giants week 2. We could not stop him from completing passes. It was insane how methodical this offense was going against this defense. You know, and can we stop that this time?
I mean, granted, our defense is also playing better as well, so like we can't take that away.
Not against the run, and that's to be the biggest problem. We'll get into that in a minute. But
yeah, I was gonna say. It's a good segue right there.
Yeah, but I mean, Jaden Daniels, though, we also have to remember he's also dealing with those rib injuries. The rib injury he has there. He won't be practicing much all week. You got to wonder if he takes a couple hits to the midsection, which, you know, typically when a quarterback gets taken down, it's where he gets hit. He's going to hurt himself even worse? Honestly, that should be a concern that they have there. Let's talk about the Giants though against the run, because Brian Robinson Jr. We talked about it after the game where he said he looked like a stud running back basically, and quite frankly, he's not. He's a 4-yard guy, 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards. That's what he's been. He's not a home run guy, but he had 133 yards and just 17 carries in the last matchup. Absolutely insane. Jaden Daniels, by the way, 10 carries, 44 yards. They had 215 rushing yards against us as a team. You can't win that way, guys.
Yeah. Nope.
You cannot win giving up 215 rushing yards because 2 reasons. 1, that means they're scoring points probably. They're getting down the field. But number 2, your offense is not seeing the field. Point blank, they're not seeing the field. We lost by 3 points in this game, guys, last time. And if you look at the time of possession, we were 15 minutes less than them. That's a whole quarter. That's a big difference. They had the ball for 37 minutes, 32 seconds. We had it for 22 minutes and 28 seconds.
And this offense is also a lot better than we faced in the last time. Like,
yes,
they're firing at way higher cylinders, if you will, than last time. Like, granted, like they were more of a run-heavy offense last time we played them because they were pretty much testing the waters with their new rookie quarterback, if you will. But guess what? This new rookie quarterback is looking like the best quarterback in the draft class, and
the best quarterback to come out in a long time.
Yes. Literally,
I mean, even I hate to say it this way, but he's outplaying CJ Stroud last year. And y'all know what I think of CJ. I was a big fan of him coming out in general.
Yes.
But he's
you me both.
CJ Stroud.
Listen,
especially because the lack of talent around him.
We're 2 for 2 right now. Like who we thought was the best quarterback.
We've been 2 draft classes, and we've been right on both times who the best quarterback was.
Yeah. And Jaden Daniels, he's looking like a stud.
Yep.
And
everybody loved Caleb. Jaden Daniels, they overlooked him.
Yeah.
Imagine what he would be doing in Chicago if he had that trio of receivers.
Oh my God. Imagine if Packer fans, how upset they would be.
Oh yeah. That's why they'd be upset, don't you know?
Oh, don't you know?
Now we got to talk about the pass rush part too, because the Giants got 5 sacks on Jaden Daniels last time. Jason Pinnock had 2 of them. This was though before Brian Burns and Azeez Ojulari got going. They still hadn't had a sack in the season by the end of the game. Ojulari now has 6 in 6 games. Brian Burns has 5 in 6 games. What does that say? That means they're averaging about 2 sacks a game between the 2 of them.
Yeah. Those boys are on fire.
Yep. And what's the worst thing to have when you have a quarterback that's got sacked a lot by a team, and that same team's coming back in, and they've got even better at sacking the quarterback? The worst thing to have is
bigger sacks.
The worst thing is a left tackle being out.
Yeah.
And that's what they're dealing with. The left tackle position is in shambles right now. Absolute shambles. So Brandon Coleman is out with a concussion. Cornelius Lucas, who's the backup left tackle, has an ankle injury. They're both expected to be out. The Commanders actually worked out Yadni Kajust. Remember, we had him in camp this year. He's the guy who was with the Patriots for a couple of years. They literally brought him into camp, into workout today because that's how bad their tackle situation has gotten. Not that we can talk. Ours is bad too, but
yeah.
I'm enjoying that somebody else is having the problem at least. So, yeah, backup Trent Scott is going to have to probably start a left tackle for them. He's literally their third option at left tackle. So, yeah, that's not good, guys. If you are a fan of the Commanders, you've got to be concerned about that. I mean, that's an issue. This is a right-handed quarterback, as most of them are. So this means the left tackle is literally protecting his blind spot. His blind spot cannot be very protected when you have a third-string tackle covering. Much like us, we're the same thing. We had Andrew Thomas out. We have Josh Rizzuto out. We have Chris Hubbard in. This is their Chris Hubbard. I fully expect Brian Burns to feast. And if he doesn't, I'm mentioning his contract quite often during the program.
Oh, 100%.
And rightfully so, I think. So, we'll see what happens there. But that's where I'm at. Because I'm looking at that going, something not right here. That's the situation the Giants should be able to blow out this game entirely at. And it's a very dangerous combination to have Jaden Daniels with a bad rib and a third string left tackle. That's a really bad combination, guys. We have to take command of that scenario. No pun intended there. If we don't go ahead and get to him to the point where, and I don't want to make it seem like this is like a Saints situation, a Bounty Gate situation. But you're just gonna hit him. I mean, that's what it boils down to. Like you're not gonna say, "Oh, he's injured. Let me just lightly try to get him to the ground." Like, no, you're gonna smack him. You're gonna hit him, and you're gonna hit him in the ribs probably because that's where you hit a quarterback.
You'd be sitting nice too.
I gotta wonder if we see Marcus Mariota at some point, and if we do, this whole game changes. If Marcus Mariota is in there, the Giants have a chance. If Jaden Daniels is in there, we don't.
100%.
I should say, don't have much of a chance. It's always a chance. So you're saying
any given Sunday.
That's why they play the games.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's give our final thoughts and picks here on the game. Now, tomorrow night we'll do our actual pick show, guys. So we're just going to go over who we think the Giants are going to win or not, basically. If you're interested in the gambling stuff, that's all next week, where I get to once again brag about beating Rob. And
oh, jeez,
what?
1 point.
I have won 6 out of 8 weeks now.
It's like you put up 12 points or something.
I'm saying I won 6 out of 8 weeks.
It's like you put up 12 points in 1 week or something.
I'm just saying 6 out of 8.
It's like you put up 12 points or something.
That means you, much like the Giants, are 2-6.
No, because in standings, I'm 2 off.
In the points total, yes, you are. But in the week by week record, you're 2-6.
Listen, you just got to get. I'll skunk you 1 more week, and then I'll be like 8 ahead of you. And then I want to hear you talk about how many weeks you won.
Oh, I'll still talk about that because that'll be my thing. Like, well, you may be up now total wise, but I've won 5 out of 10.
But if you follow my bets, you'd be winning more money with me.
I know, but I'm going to have to come up with something to make my ego feel better. So that's what I'll do. So anyway, back on to the picks and final thoughts at the Giants and the Commanders. Commanders at Giants, whatever the hell it is. Doesn't matter. We're gonna lose either way. Who said that? What? So, yeah. So the big thing for me, guys, is like Rob alluded to before. This is not the same Commanders we faced the first time. It's not, point blank. Since we faced them, the Commanders are averaging 32.5 points per game, guys. That's more than twice what the Giants are at 15.5.
It's more than twice what they were putting up just about twice what they were putting up when we played them.
Yeah.
The first time.
If Jaden Daniels plays the whole game and he's healthy, I'm sorry, we're done, guys. I'd love to give you guys rays of hope. I'd love to be more positive. But Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in the NFC East.
Hands down.
Yeah. I'm not a Jalen Hurts guy. I'm not a Dak Prescott guy. Definitely not a DJ guy. He is the best quarterback in this division. And
Hands down.
We're going to be in trouble, guys. We're going to be in trouble for the next couple of years, depending on how long he lasts this bad offensive line, his thin frame. But, this is going to be something we're going to have to deal with the next couple of years, at the very least. We'll see for how long. Like I said, my only concern is how long he's going to last, or if they're going to RG3 him because he's like, 190 pounds playing that position with a bad offensive line, a horrible offensive line coach.
Touché.
Guys, this is not going to be a Sunday you're going to enjoy, I think, honestly. I hate to say it. Next week, that's the one you'll enjoy. We can have a German breakfast, but I don't know what they eat for breakfast in Germany. We can have a German breakfast, though. Maybe some Irish coffee. Watch the game. It's going to be I think it's going to be a brutal one this time, guys, though. So, I have no hope for the Giants. What do you think, Rob?
I have hope for the Giants, and I'm going to tell you why.
Do you have high hope?
I don't have high hopes. I have little hope for the Giants.
Want some pot?
So, like we Daniels,
me drunk.
Do drug, kids. Do drugs. No, Daniels is hurt. He's injured. Weak offensive line. We have had the best sacking team out there. I don't think Daniels is going to last this game.
If he doesn't, I'm with you. But for the record,
so just because of that, I'm going to go with Giants to win. Ooh. We're also a New York Giants podcast, so we heard it here first. We win.
Are you insinuating I have to pick the Giants because we're a Giants podcast?
Nope.
Okay,
you do what you want to do.
Because you have not picked them every week. I know better.
I have not. I have not.
Picks in front of me. All right, guys. Before we get going, though, we got to give you our pick for the first game coming up, which is coming up tomorrow night. The Texans at the Jets. And I can't believe this at all. But I'm even going to double check it while we're live here. I literally saw the bet line as the Jets being the favorite, which I don't understand.
Wait, what? No. What I saw earlier today when I looked at it was Texans were favored 3.5.
Dude, I'm right on sportsline.com right now. The Jets are a 1.5 point favorite.
Bet the Houston. Bet the Texans, unless there's some big key injuries that we don't know about.
I want to look at multiple Texans because I just can't believe this. Like,
yeah, and the over/under is what, 38 or something to 40?
Absolutely no sense here, guys. Yeah, here we go. I'm at USA Today. Spread for the Jets -1.5. I don't understand this, guys. Like, if you're not betting the house on the Texans, is there something we just don't know? Like, that's again, I don't pretend to know every single team and every single injury report. Like, is there something I'm unaware of? Is like CJ Stroud out? Like, what's going on here?
He's gonna play.
Okay.
So that's easy for me.
Yeah. It's oh my god, like a whole page of people that are out basically for the Jets. Yeah, I mean, Stephon Diggs out. I heard today he tore his ACL. So he's out for the year probably. Yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing anything crazy that I'm going, I mean, Dameon Pierce is going to be out, but he hasn't been playing that great this year for the most part. Yeah, no, guys, yeah. I'm not going to say put the mortgage on it. But before we even do our full-on show, this is probably one of our picks of the week right here. That's insane. Jets will not win this game, guys. That's insanity. So
I'm going to go Houston in the over.
But I still don't think that's enough for the Jets to be favored. Yet no, yeah, because he's talking about Diggs did tear his ACL. Yeah, like I said, I that to me isn't enough. So you said, I'm sorry, you said
Houston in the over.
So I'm going to say Houston and under because I just don't think the Jets will score enough points. So you got Houston over. I'm adding it to the pick sheet. I'm going to add it on because I always forget to do that before when we record on Wednesdays. Then I'm like, who'd you pick again? I can't remember.
Perfect.
So, all righty, guys. That's going to call it a night for us here. So we are going to be, of course, live again tomorrow night when we do that pick show there for you guys. And we lost Rob because he's that upset that I disagree with him. Apparently, I'm kidding. But yeah, we're going to be live again tomorrow night doing our pick show. We'll be literally going over every single game in the NFL there for Week 9. And of course, with that, we're also going to go ahead and give you guys picks, spreads, over unders like that, and of course any of the latest and greatest Giants news we're going to go over as well. So keep you guys up to date with everything going on. So if you guys haven't already, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that share, tell a friend, guys. We suck in marketing. I admit it freely. We count on you all to help us out there. So appreciate you guys for listening. As always, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and my LinkedIn profile, of course, which is Rob's favorite. And of course, the next day we're available on all the audio podcast platforms there. 5 a.m. usually is when the episode will drop. Obviously, it depends on when your particular platform will pop it up there. But we're on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the big ones there, Amazon, and all the big ones there. If you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe on those as well there, guys. If you're on Apple, do me a favor, leave a review as well. That really helps spread that going there as well. Especially actually if you're able to on Spotify, give us the thumbs up there, because for some reason, like 65% of the people that listen to us in audio are on Apple. And don't get me wrong, we appreciate you 65%ers, but we don't have nearly the same following on Spotify we have on Apple for some reason. So listen on Spotify, help us out and give us a little thumbs up on that there.
Please do. Hi, Dad.
Oh, there he is. Howdy.
How?
And Rob, you missed it. I already told them where to find our show, so you don't get to your favorite.
It was like that. Oh, shoot.
What happens when you leave the program because you're upset because I under and you bet the over?
I was overexcited.
I know you are.
Darn it.
Shannon Elizabeth's not going to come in, is she? Oh, yes. I'm making the apple and the American Pie reference there. Oh, yes. Such a good movie. Such a good movie. Boo earns. Yeah. But all righty, guys. We will go ahead and see you guys tomorrow night. Appreciate you guys for listening. And as always, Giant fans,
go
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.